I'm glad you all can make it. I know you're all been handpicked because I think this is a group that will be able to help us in finding what I think might be the lost Josephine mine. Now, every one of you have a unique personality and are gifted in a way, some way or another, that we think we can use. So, where we're going to go today is back up on the mountain behind us. Look for a legendary mine that was discovered by a family called the Garcias. And they came out of Santa Fe in the late 1700s to look for the 7 cities of Sonora. And they were guided to the mountain by some Ute Indians. And they found an ancient mine that had been worked by ancient people, even before the Spanish came. And as legend goes, they got into the mine and started digging, and they found a massive amount of gold and silver, and they began to mine it. And what they did is they started exporting gold out of the Uintas back to Santa Fe. And during this time, they were having skirmishes with the Ute Indians continually, and sometimes with the Shoshone, because where we're going is a dividing line between the northern Shoshone and the Ute. And so every once in a while they get this battle going back and forth. And they mined that Josephine mine. Now let me back up a little bit, let me digress. The Josephine mine was misnamed. What it meant to say was it was the Josephine mines. It was a reel of mines. There were 7 mines. And so it was misnamed because it was supposed to encompass the whole area of about several thousand acres. And there are several mines up in there that might be part of that Josephine group. So anyway, I made a little trip up there to look around, and I found a few things that I think might help us find that mine. And I needed more feet on the ground. I needed more eyes. I needed some wide open personalities. I needed people that would be able to be broad-minded, to see tree markings, trail markings, color in the ground, anything that's not natural. That's what we need to look for. Now, I've been doing this for 40 years, and I know as somebody that's a beginner is going to have a hard time because they have a pretty narrow point of view at this time. So you've got to broaden your mind, and open your mind. And we have an old map that will probably get us to the mine. And I'm not going to show it to anybody. I'm gonna, if I show any part of it, it'll be a little part, because I don't want that map getting out. So I'm gonna be real selfish with my map. And I have this guy I'm gonna look up that's supposed to know a little bit more about the mine. And when we get to that point, I might have to see if he has a like map, and then we'll go from there. But when we get up there, there's several old trails up there, and I think they're Spanish trails. And what we have to do is we have to get on those trails and then follow them. Now, there's a difference between a Spanish trail and a deer trail and a cow trail and a sheep trail and those types of trails. The Spanish trails can be about as wide as this table. We've dug in a little bit. So we'll start moving up those trails and seeing what we can see. Now, according to the Garcia legend, they were finally run out by the Utes, and there was a great battle up there, and only 42 survivors made it back to Mexico City. Well, after that, 2 Spaniards and a hybrid Mexican, they called them, somehow got a map and the workbook of Jose Joaquin Garcia, and they made their way back to the mountain. Now, the only name we have I could find for this Spaniard was Black Whiskers, and that's what the Ute Indians called him. And he came in with a group of slaves, and they began to reopen the mine, start mining. And they were able to gather a lot of bar gold and silver. And a lot of the silver is great big squares of silver that's supposed to weigh from 1 to 7 pounds. The gold bars are all gold bars about this big, and there was, at that time period, they estimated there was 6 million in gold bars. And so Black Whiskers was moving that gold out when the Ute Indians came in on them and slaughtered them. And they took the gold and buried it back in the mountain. They stacked the gold behind a wooden door and covered it with a hide. And then they took the slaves and they said, get out of here, don't ever come back, we'll kill you. And so they left, and as far as we know, they never came back. As far as we know, there's gold still there, unless some Spaniards came in later and maybe got the gold out, or maybe even, you know, modern times, maybe somebody got it out, we don't know. But I doubt it. Now, there's a smaller mine up there that you can only see from across the canyon, and when you find it, you've got to crawl into it from what the map says, and they had stored some gold in that mine. So if we don't find the big one, at least we'll find the little one. And on the map, there's markings that I know about, and I think with those markings, we'll be able to get to that mine. So that's the focus of why we're here together over the course of the next few days. Any questions?
Who were the slaves?
Well, they were just Indians and Mexicans. If they were just pure Mexicans, they were slaves. A hybrid meant he was half Spaniard, real Spanish. The Mexicans were Indian Mexican, so they were always considered slaves.
Do they have any record of how many there were?
No, well, at one given time there was 1,500 people that came up into the area. But all we really know for sure is that 42 survived the massacre, and I have all their names, every one of their names I have. And so they're real people. It's not something that somebody made up.
Hey, this wooden door, so you think there's still a chance that this cache is still behind this wooden door?
I would suppose, you know, I've never heard of anybody ever finding a big cache up there.
There's that one, and you're also saying there's another one in some type of cave, natural cave that they use?
Well,
or?
no, it actually shows it as a mine, an adit.
Oh, okay.
But it talks about a small adit.
Yeah.
And, well, you know, it could be a cave.
Yeah.
But when they usually say adit, they mean it's an actual digging.
Oh, okay.
And you can only see it from across the canyon.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to try to find.
Okay.
Anything else?
They
Anybody
treat
want?
the hybrids better than they treated the regular slaves.
They treat the hybrids better?
Yeah, because they had the Spanish in them, you know.
Oh, yeah. But he couldn't ride on the same trail as the pure Spaniards.
So they were like the general of the slaves.
That's it.
Lieutenants.
Slaves it was a common practice. It was not considered evil.
Yeah.
It was just a common practice in those days, you know. Kind of way I treat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the real mines connected?
Not,
That's a good question.
they're not connected underground, but they're owned by a group, an expedition. And so the expedition would own that real mines. And another expedition wasn't allowed to go in there. If they did, they'd have a battle, you know. So, and also we have to keep in mind, we have to look for codes. Coded symbols became really important to the Spaniards later on, because other Spanish groups would come in and they'd follow the signs of the previous Spaniards, so the other group would say, wait a minute, we're going to have to do something to help us keep our mines, so they conceal their mines, but they, on their trees or other rocks, they'd have a code. And only that group would know what that code meant. Now, I've discovered a lot of the codes and I've been able to interpret them, but it's taken a long, long time to do it. But I think that I know enough that if there's codes up there, I can figure them out.
What are the main symbols are we looking for?
Well, according to the map, we're looking for tree blazes and a cross, flower symbols, and a turtle. When we find that turtle, it'll point us right in the direction we need to go. So we'll have to stay on the old trail, and we have to find a spring, and then above the spring, there's a group of trees where the symbols are hidden, according to the map. And now you've got to remember, there's been cattle, there's been roads made up in that country, modern roads, because they run cows up there. And hopefully, if we're really lucky, nobody's bugged that big group of trees. And if they haven't, we'll find the symbols.
Do you think it's better to split off, or do you want to keep us as a group as we look for this? Or?
What I think we'll do is when we get up there, we'll kind of spread out and then we'll start walking in a particular area. And then if anybody sees anything, give a scream, give a holler.
Yeah.
If you see somebody strange, don't scream and holler. We don't want them to know what we're doing.
Exactly.
All right?
Get
So-
on the internet, look what we found.
But I know that some of you might not agree with what I see or what I interpret. And if you don't, I want you to just tell me. You know, and don't be afraid to voice your opinion, because that's why I picked everybody, this group, because I know there's difference of opinions,
Yeah,
and it's good sometimes.
I think it's good.
If I don't like what you say, I'll let you know.
Right.
But also, don't worry about it. If you got thin skin, don't argue with me. So, you know, that's what we got to do, you know.
Okay.
What's the symbols for gold and for silver? What's the
Usually
two
a half
different
moon. A half moon is silver.
Okay.
A gold, there's several meanings for gold, but the circle with the dot in the middle can be gold. Or a backwards cursive E could be gold.
Oh, yeah.
A half circle with two lines through it can be a smelter. And I've got my book of symbols in my truck. And what we'll do is we'll go through them and everybody get a real quick lesson what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And keep it in your mind so you're not getting the book.
Yeah. You're not gonna let us have.
No.
What
No,
does the turtle mean?
That's what I was gonna
Huh?
ask.
What does the turtle and the flower, what does
Why,
that
why are we
represent?
looking for
Okay,
the
the
turtle?
flower symbol is used to denote a canyon to the top of a ridge or the richness of a mine by the petals. If it's got 9 petals or 11 petals or 13 petals, it's talking about the richness. But if it has irregular petals or like 3 or 4, then it means that's the top of the mountain. And usually the stem is the canyon and the leaves are side canyons. And if you see a circle somewhere on that's the mine. If it's gold, it should have the sign for gold. If it's silver, it'll have the half moon.
So it can be anywhere on that flower, on the petals, on the stem,
On the
wherever-
tree.
Anywhere on the tree. then.
But
You
do
wanna-
you face the flower and go that way?
Yeah, anytime you look at symbols, a lot of people think you put your back to them, but you don't. You look at the symbol, and then you look past the object on the right and go straight ahead, unless there's something there to tell you to either go oblique left or right. But-
So another symbol?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was the turtle?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did it
the
take a
turtle-
long time to find it?
The
Yeah.
turtle, if the turtle has got its head and its legs and its tail, they're all hooked together, you look at the tail. If the tail's curved, you follow the tail. If it's straight, you follow the head. If it has no legs, the treasure's right there.
So that's the final symbol.
Oh,
If the head's cut off, gone, the treasure's gone.
Unless they didn't know to do that.
If,
It's
yeah,
really there.
if they didn't know to do that, then you're gonna be digging holes forever. You know?
Yeah.
But our treasure is inside a cave or a mine. So, you know, if we find anything on the ground or in the stream, it's gonna be by metal detecting.
Well, I heard that a heart was really important.
The heart, if there's a heart carved in a tree, that means a king's mine or a royal mine.
So that would mean a big mine, like an important mine.
Will it be? Yes, it would. And so we have to look for hearts too.
Okay.
And if you find even a small heart, or another thing we need to look for is a hard, deep cut in a tree, which
Oh.
means tunnel. Now, if you find a cut in a tree and it's up to here in your arm, that thing's got to be 300 years old.
Wow.
And so you have to really, really keep your eyes open and watch for trees, too, pine trees that had all their branches cut off on one side. Because that is a sign that you're close to a mine or topped. If a pine tree's been topped or 2 pine trees been topped, you're there. I don't care if you don't see anything or not, you're there.
Yeah.
Roughly how high are the symbols that we're looking for?
Most of them were from up to here to where you sit on a horse. Now, so you know, a lot of people think that if a tree grows, symbols grow. That don't work. Trees grow from the inside, they grow out from the outside. So it's like pulling a newspaper like this.
So if
So,
he was standing there, it would be at about the same height that we would be looking at, or if he was
yeah,
sitting there.
if he was on his knees maybe, but it's gonna be right there in that torso
Okay.
area.
Same
So
height that he
between
made it.
4 to
Right.
7 feet.
It only varied an inch, if anything.
So we shouldn't be looking up in the trees going.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you should be looking up the trees
Okay.
because at times, they would climb up in trees and carve great big blazes,
Oh, wow.
and you'd walk right by it.
Oh,
Or they'd do a notch in a tree,
yeah.
or they'd bend a tree on purpose to make it look like a deformed tree as a follow marker. So anything that doesn't look normal, I want you to let me know.
So in other words, we gotta keep our eyes open everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta be way open like this, you know, and don't say, oh, I don't know, that probably ain't nothing. No, it's probably something. I mean, you don't, everything's relevant, so you wanna make sure, that's how you find treasure.
Yeah. Anything that doesn't look natural, then.
If you think it might not look natural, then call me. If it's not natural, I mean, if it is natural, then it is.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it, because that's how you learn.
At least we can get opinions of different people to
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Do they have geoglyphs up there as well, or we're mostly looking at trees?
There's one geoglyph, and it's a rock arrow like this. It's about 4-foot arrow like this, and it's on a side hill. And according to the map, that's supposed to take us to a heart tree. And if we get to the heart tree, we're supposed to look across the valley, well, it's not a valley, it's a little canyon, and look for an indent in the side of the mountain.
So it shows a heart symbol on this map that you have? Wow. Cool.
Everybody got a little.
No, I don't want to see a bunch of green. When we find gold, I say, when we find the gold, I don't want to see green ooze coming out of it. No green. We'll leave you in the mountains. Okay, any questions, any more questions?
Who gets to keep the gold, Steve?
Now, how do you want to split this? How do you want to split this with everybody?
We'll split it amongst us.
What's the cut?
90-10.
So you've got all these symbols, so you have this book, I guess, is what you were talking about, these symbols that we can use while we get up there, right?
Yes, yes, and we'll go over the symbol book. I think you look through it.
Great.
There are only a few that you really have to memorize,
Yeah.
and that's not a big deal. And then once you memorize those, now here's something I want you to keep in mind. Don't call me over if it's a porcupine symbol. You know,
Those are kind of hard to distinguish between a real marking sometimes, though.
That's kind of the difference.
usually a real true Spanish symbol, you won't have any problem.
Yeah.
If it's a true Spanish symbol, you won't have any problem.
Well, that's kind of like what you said, some of us that are newer with the symbols, we may think that is one. but
Right.
Yeah, it is pretty distinct.
It is.
If you look at a porcupine symbol,
Yeah.
you can see the gnaw marks. And you'll also, if you look at a real Spanish symbol, you'll be able to see the cut mark.
All right.
So, once you see these symbols, if we find them up there, then you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And you have to be able to, and sometimes the bark will grow over, the scarring will grow over, but you still will be able to make it out.
Yeah.
And you won't have any trouble, but a porcupine, now porcupines only go in elevation so high, so after a point, you won't see any porcupine symbols. Now, I've been called and asked, I've driven miles to look at a porcupine symbol.
Yeah.
Somebody's, you know, but anyway, just keep your eyes open and make sure that you keep me informed of what's going on.
Porcupines are always pretty much at the base of the tree, right?
Well, they'll get up in the tree on the branches too.
Oh, do they?
We won't see porcupines though, right?
You probably might, you might. Don't worry, yeah, don't worry. Just don't
Just
catch
a bear.
You're expecting gold though, right, Steve?
Huh?
We're expecting gold, more gold symbol than silver. You're not anticipating.
Well, there is silver in these mountains, but I think they're just as much gold. But I don't think, from what I read, the Spanish weren't after that much silver up there. They're more after gold. So if you find a bar or any gold that's been manufactured, will have a lot of silver and copper in it. Because I noticed that there was a copper sign on the map. So there must be copper up there too. So
They probably ended up hitting another loan, just finding silver, gold, copper.
probably
whatever
did.
was
The
up
gold
there.
was more prevalent.
Yep.
You know, the document talks about the gold, so that's what they were after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're after, guys.
Pretty cool.
Exciting, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve. This is Spanish, but this was Spanish, but I took it off and put in
Honestly.
English.
Versus river.
That's the Weaver River. No, we gotta go up this way. Here, which is here. So this is the area we're going into today. And then we'll, hopefully we can get around and get up into this area to find this mine. And that's where the cave is. So, come around everybody and look at the Spanish map.
You don't mind if I move this to you?
No, no, come
Still
around
trying
and
to
look.
sit.
What's this symbol right here?
That looks like an Indian symbol.
That is a sun cross, and this means in a cave.
So this is what we're gonna go after.
So we're gonna go after, right there. We gotta start on the old Spanish trail, right here that I'm gonna show everybody.
Okay.
And eventually it'll take us up and back around to this canyon over here.
Okay, nothing saying about your experience, but just out of curiosity, why do we know where we're going? Like, how do we know this is gonna be another mountain over or so?
Well, because of this river and the drainages. I've checked the modern maps,
Okay,
and with this map that I've transferred from Spanish into English, it tells us about where it is, because even this canyon here is on this map. And so if you look at the drainages, here's the Rio de Timpanogos, the Provo, and so we know this is the Weber because the Rio de Santa Ana is the Weber River.
okay.
And we do know different Spanish trails and things, so I'm pretty sure I know where this area is.
So have you been up there and you found things that kind
I-
of tell you that?
I went into the mouth this one time, not knowing anything about that mine, and Barney and I found a Spanish armor in a mine alley. And we dug it out, it was a breastplate, and by the time we got it home after a few years, it started to crumble.
Wow.
And so what's left now is a little bit of metal, had a buckle on it, and some leather, and that all rotted. It had been underneath some rocks, and we found metal detecting an old mine at it on that river.
So that's exciting.
So we
they
know
found
there's
that area.
Spanish, we know there's Spanish in there.
Yep.
And so when we get there, we might find stuff like this.
Oh, look at that.
See that? That's what we might find. That's what we're after, a lot more of this.
A lot more.
Yep, so that's what we want to go after.
Oh, a lot more.
Find a nugget like that in that mine, you know, you're
Wow.
gonna be rich.
Well, yeah, well,
On security.
You want, anybody want to smell it?
Does it have a smell to it?
You know, I was asked that by one guy, I said, what does gold smell like? I said, yeah, like money.
Like money.
Like money.
Anyway, that's where you take out a dollar bill and go.
Also, I brought my book of symbols, and I want you guys to take a look at the book. And there'll be, there's a lot of symbols in here that you can go through that we'll be interested in, and a lot of stuff that we need to understand. If you're gonna find this treasure,
I forgot.
you've got to understand these symbols. The turtle.
This is what you meant by the head being cut off.
Uh-huh.
And what about the tail curving or something?
Right,
Like those?
right. And arrows, snakes, and all these things you got to be aware of. All these different signs and symbols you have to be aware of and understand what they mean.
So according to this map, we're looking for what kind of symbols?
These are the ones we really want to look for right here. These are the expedition symbols,
Oh, wow.
flower symbols. A heart. We want to find, there's some trees. See how the trees are marked?
Yeah.
This is how they have the flowers and different marks on the trees. And so even if it looks like somebody just scratched it on, I want to know, because see, some of these look like scratches, but every one of these is telling a story.
Like that one right there.
Yeah, they're telling a story. And you find stuff like this,
Wow.
this, all these symbols have meanings to them. So you need to acquaint yourself with these symbols. Not only that, but also cursive writing that would indicate gold, or pesos, or gold bars, and so on. So this is what you have to get acquainted with, and like the Maltese Cross and the Death Star.
That is interesting.
Oro means
Oro with the
means
square in
gold
the
square
dot.
means you're there at the treasure site.
Oh.
Let's look for one of those.
So all these are important. This one here we've seen up on Red Creek.
Yes.
And the pick and the shovel and the axe, and the bell, these fours, all these are pertinent. There's the pine tree. all these different signs. And sometimes, you have to realize that sometimes these signs don't look exactly like this. But they're close, and if they're close, and you can see them, and they look close to this, then you know that you have a viable symbol.
Just out of curiosity, why would they use the pine tree? Like, what is it?
Well, it depends. The pine tree means you're in the forest. Yeah, really. Or look at a pine for a sign.
It is. It's a heck of a-
Oh, so it's telling you to start looking at the trees for symbols,
So
possibly.
was the
Right,
Spanish
right,
the only
okay.
ones that did markings in trees, or did the
Spanish and the
Indians
Mexican, well, the Indians very rarely did. They peel a tree for bark in the wintertime to eat.
Okay.
But they never carved. A lot of people think they carved signs, they didn't. But the Mexicans and the Spaniards did.
So how can you tell the difference between a Mexican and a
The
Spanish?
Spaniards were really deliberate, the Mexicans were sloppy, just like the monuments. Their monuments are sloppy. The Spaniards were not sloppy, they were tall, perfect, well-built monuments.
All right.
What's this map?
Okay.
Is that like a blown up of this?
Well,
Well, this goes on right here. This came with this map. This is the original map that I photocopied. And this area right here is the mine we're in question right here. It's like Mina del Oro, right
Yeah,
there.
so then this says
Say you're
rework
there,
additional
you know,
tunnels inside the
yeah.
United City.
Well, that was older. That wasn't even supposed to be there. Yeah, that was another mine, but that was right close by that.
How do you know if you're actually on the Spanish Trail? What's the physical characteristics?
Yes.
Spanish trails are cart wide, two-wheel cart wide. And if you take the carts and if you have a two-wheel cart, they're 4 to 5 feet wide, and they'll always be deep because of the traffic. And there'll always be a sign along those trails of a blaze or a tree marking or something that'll tell you where the trail's going or what it's doing. And so that's what you look for. And sometimes they've turned into four-wheeler roads now.
Yeah.
So how can you tell if we're a wheeler road between the Spanish Trail Road?
Well, you have to look at the depth of the trail. You know, the older it is, the deeper it goes down in. And pretty soon, you know, it'll be, some of them will be that deep.
Is that from their cars with all the heavy ore and all the horses
Right.
and everything?
And everything else there.
And another thing I want you to look for while we're up here is look for the roots that come across the trail. And you look for where the carts run over the roots,
Dense.
them in, or anything like that. So you're gonna be looking for all kinds of stuff.
What about rounded off rocks? Did they actually travel enough to where they can?
They
round
have,
off
they'll,
rocks?
they'll round off rocks or even peel them off. You know, they'll look like they've been crumbling. You have to stand back and look at those rocks, look at the trail, and then visualize this trail, this train, or this group coming through.
Yeah,
So you have to use your imagination,
yeah,
you know,
that's a good way to put it.
and
yeah.
then look for all the signs. Now it gets harder as time goes on because things fade away, die, you know, landslides happen, and all those things happen. But there's still enough signs left for a person to find stuff if he knows what to look for.
Does anybody else have this map?
Nope.
And you're not gonna run into anybody? or-
No, and you're not getting it either.
You might
gonna
run
keep
into
it.
people
No, nobody has this.
not looking for the same.
Well, this one's in Mexico City still, but I have a copy of it.
So we're talking about going after something real that no one should even know the location of this place.
Or nothing about
This
this.
is big time. This is
Right.
something that no one knows about. We gotta keep it quiet, we gotta work together. Now I can see why you brought all these people together so we can all use our heads. Yeah,
Trust
this is
each
exciting.
other.
Yeah, very
Well, I
exciting.
hope I
Right.
can trust
So
you
that-
guys.
I'll be watching you.
I don't know you, dude. I don't know
So
you from
if anybody wants to go through this, and look at signs,
That's a good idea, start getting to know them, yeah.
and this is my book of maps. Okay, here's my book of maps. All right, you seen enough?
That's enough. Put
That's
it
enough
away.
of that one.
But I do have a lot more to go after.
He does the same thing, he'll break out his laptop and start showing you something and go, oh, I don't want you to see that.
We have a lot more to go after, but at a different time, at a different place, we'll go after a lot more, because I have probably 122 maps of different sites that I've been hunting for my life, and I put together a lot of stuff. And if this one works out, we got a bunch more to chase.
So what makes this area, why are you bringing this to this area?
Because this is the one that I think is most important right now.
Okay.
one mother load to get us.
Yeah, if this one works out, then I'll have funding to go after more.
There you go.
And I've already found stuff.
Would
in
you
my
say that
life,
one more time?
And it makes me happy that I can, but,
If this works out, I'll have,
okay. If this discovery works out, then we'll have funding to continue on the quest to finding more mines and treasures. It takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and I've found a few things over my life that it was during the days when I worked for a living, and I could only do it on weekends or days off or vacation. But now I have all the time in the world, but I need money. So,
What we all need.
then we
Yeah,
need
we
money.
do.
So,
Make it work out.
this is what
Yeah,
it's all
no
about.
doubt.
Yep.
And every one of you are in kind of the same boat, and that's why you're been chosen to go on this expedition. And because of your knowledge and everything else, you know, your willingness and everything, and I think you can be taught, and you can help out. You know, when I'm gone, somebody's gonna have to take over. I can't find everything, and so I leave it to my kids to carry on. You know.
I can find her right.
Yeah.
We'll find
Treat us
everything.
right.
So let's find this thing.
Oh, yeah, he's my adopted kid. Yeah, right. So anyway,
Watch this one.
Yeah.
She
Keep
picks
my
up
eyes on
fast.
it.
I'll take care of the gold.
okay.
or a cooler.
Is that leftover?
Yeah,
Do you have anywhere for it?
take it.
I haven't noticed any cooler in my truck.
Whoop whoop. Good. Steve! This is what a Titan can do, buddy. Oh yeah. Oh damn. What'd you put on this road 30 years ago anyways?
When I feel good.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
I don't feel good. No messing around.
The porcupine scratches or whatever.
Oh,
Those
we'll see if we can find some of those.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh, man.
Shut the front door. Are
darn
you
it.
kidding me?
Oh, down.
Sorry, Steve.
How's he looking at?
Okay, I need my way to roll up. That.
All the way up? Tell me what.
Right there.
Oh, this is that Spaniard camp area, isn't it? This is where the Spaniards used to camp out. One of their camps.
Two roads diverged in a wood. So what about an upside down part? Is that it?
Upside down what?
Part.
Actually, I do think it means something. Can't remember what though. Uh-oh.
He noticed his fly was down.
Did he really? Oh, I was like, did he really? Oh, ha ha, Steve, ha ha. See that, baby? I was a little worried about the transmission from last year, but you know what? Look at it. It's good. Sweet. Oh, Tim.
I
Oh,
bet
yeah.
you should check on them back there with the laser on that one spot.
Hold on. Oh boy, those rocks up there. Oh, I tried to avoid them.
It is very unwise to have an open container in here.
Yeah.
You could say that 2 times.
Like, yeah. Oh, there's a silver mine.
I am. Kelly, that was wrong. Big tree there, and here's the trail, and the gold sign right up there on that tree is a kind of a jagged gold sign. Was put on a little later, and that's one of the old mother trees right there.
Right here?
Right there, the old mother tree. So this here is the trail that'll take us up. But since we're on the road, we don't have to walk the trail.
You can go out there.
Yeah. So I think
Is there any
Another
more?
blaze up there, right, Dad?
yeah, you can follow these up, and I've only followed it for a little ways, but I followed the old camp all the way up through where those cows are and across these trees and come up right through here, and I found this cut right here and that cut there. You can see if you go put your hand in that, it's in there that deep.
This one right here?
Over here to your left, right to your left, to the left.
Now these are follow markers, or
These are follow markers, and that's the gold sign right there.
The
and
circle and the dot
circle
in
and
the
the
middle,
dot, and
yeah.
if you follow this, it'll take you right over.
And that's a deep
So,
blaze there, long.
what
that a
is
turtle?
this one?
That's just another blaze.
So you got what?
It's a follow
50,
sign.
100,
The circle with the dot.
Like, that looks like a turtle.
Yeah, that over there, it's
does
kind
look
of
like a turtle.
jagged one, but it's earlier, I mean later, but it's
Go-
still a
go
gold
show
sign,
him.
which is a good sign that we need to have.
Go show them.
and you just look beyond the trees and go
Yeah,
straight this way. Or,
it'll take you up over the same
I
direction.
see what you're seeing.
My four-wheeler will go with
So-
this track.
let's do it.
Steve, you see?
You'll see, their claw marks.
Oh,
I seen them back there.
Oh,
So
Back
they're
down there, I
like,
seen them all the way
But
up.
see, you're in a
The
forest
boar?
now where the
And
quaking
bear,
trees
too.
are really
Bear
tall
flying.
and old. They're starting to get really big. And I've seen several parent trees coming up. So we just need to keep following on the road and get on the other side of this hill, and we should be able to find more sign to take us to the symbols we really want. It's on the map.
up and over.
So this is more like a starting point.
Well, actually, yeah, it's down below, but this is good. This is good here because it tells you where the trail goes.
Yeah, keep
up
going.
through.
Yeah.
Is there ever an
Have you
upside
gone
down
up here
part?
before?
Yeah,
You gone up this
I've
way?
I've seen two. It means the same thing.
Oh, because I thought I saw it. You know, I was like, it made me think of it.
So this is where we have to start, and then we'll just go on up really easy up this dugway, and then we got a little bit of a there's a spring. It's on the map, a spring, and then just beyond the spring, 400 Veras is supposed to be where the trees are.
Back there, though, I found some symbols 3 years
So
ago.
we'll get up there and I'll measure them off.
Some silver mines down.
How long is
So
a Vera?
was this,
Mile down south.
Man's natural step, and it doesn't mean if you're walking uphill and you're taking little short steps, it's a Vera.
Right.
Going downhill and you're taking 10-foot steps, it's a Vera.
Vera.
Well,
But
you know,
but the
John,
Spaniards
there's
were a lot smaller than we are.
Well, no, they weren't.
coming up
Mexicans
on
were,
this
the
mountain
Spaniards
the other
weren't.
way up.
Okay.
Everybody thinks the
He took
Spaniards
us,
were short people.
and
They're
it was
not. They
just
were
a
6
normal
foot
road. I
tall,
don't know how we
6'2".
found it. Then he pulls over
The
and
real
we just walked
Spaniard.
down-
Right.
That everybody thinks
down into the
when
quake.
they say Spaniard, you're thinking of Mexican.
So it's probably a
It was
3-foot
caved
step.
in.
Just
Three
a
foot.
yard.
Dad crawled up
36
over the
inches,
top.
isn't it?
When they crossed
36
over the
inches.
top, there was an old horse car in there.
36 is natural.
Yeah.
Oh, that would've been
Mexican
cool.
Vera is 33.
That was a good little find. Where was that?
so
So-
you,
That was on the other
No,
road
go ahead.
coming up.
so you
Oh,
said the
Canyon
came
Road.
up this way?
Yeah,
And
that
goes
road
this
is,
way?
dude, that road is rough.
So this is not
Have you tried
wide.
doing that
No,
road,
this
Rob?
is just coming from
10 years?
down below.
Oh, so they walked
Trying to
this.
They
think
just
the
ride a
last
horse
time
up
I was
through
up here.
Okay.
Probably with John.
So you think we're gonna see more going this way, or instead of
Yeah,
going
we will.
up the trail?
Yeah, I've already walked
It was
this, and this
just at the
there's a few
tailings
blazes
where they
going
were
over,
coming
but
out,
we'll
there
tie
was a
right onto the
big
road
old
again.
pine,
And then
huge.
from there, I
The
haven't
tailings
been
was
any
around
further.
it. We just
Okay.
had a metal
There's a
detector.
lot of stuff in there still to be found.
Oh,
So-
tons.
Like this?
Show mine off too, will you?
Is it just come across?
Yeah, see it on the dead tree?
Uh-huh, on the second one?
Yeah.
So does that mean like right here?
No, it's continuing off the road.
Continue up the road.
What about this? Over here, look at this. That's a split.
Wow, that is
So
really, huh? Nothing.
That's natural.
Yeah, if you notice it on every tree, I figured that out. Yeah, because they're like
Look, there's two
everywhere.
over there, there's one here.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
They
know
fill
what
that
causes
one in,
it. I don't anyway, but
They fill that
it
one
could
in.
be like where a branch starts.
And then it kind of fell off. So,
But they aren't.
And that was perpendicular by a smelter.
well, no, because I think there's.
Oh, the sea right there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta take one.
There was one up there in that lake that we found.
Wow.
Been long been destroyed. Huh? Yes. This will be our last stop before we go to the symbol tree.
This is the supposed diamond that Chris found on the tree. Steve's a little bit ahead of us right now. Get a quick shot.
Give me the outline of it.
This is the outline of the diamond. The diamond signifies 1 league. So that's a Spanish league, which is about 2.6 miles. That's interesting.
Well, you found 1, 2.
Yeah, the diamond over there. What's that over here on the back side?
That's pretty cool. I got. These are really old trees.
There's another symbol on this first tree.
Yeah, we just got it documented.
Girls, guys, that last symbol told us that this must be the area. So what we're going to do is line up across here and just start walking. And if you see anything, take a picture. If you find any real important symbols, give me a holler. Or if I do, I'll scream, and then everybody head to wherever the big scream is. That's all I can tell you.
I'd prefer you to yell than scream.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yelling
I'll
I
yell.
would mistake you for Sasquatch.
Let the girls scream. The guys will yell.
I think you got it down pretty good.
Okay, any non-believers in the group?
Oh wait, what?
Non-believers.
Yeah, you sit in the truck.
I believe. I believe.
Like that.
Spread out. Whoever you want to go with.
Younger
Let's go. Let's spread out.
Come on, baby.
We have to walk.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on.
We'll spread out through the trees.
Can we stay on trail?
No, we're spreading out through the trees looking for.
Steve says the symbol's leading this way, so.
Steve doesn't always know everything.
Steve knows
Don't go yet.
everything.
Did you see that look? You
Oh, if you don't mind, can I leave it there until I get back? Okay.
Which way?
Come on, babe.
There's snake holes.
You want to get on my back?
This is not going to work.
Sure.
You know what?
What?
I'll walk parallel to you.
Okay.
guys. Oh, okay.
Hasn't been hit by lightning.
It was? Oh, it wasn't? So, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Huh.
Take your time.
That's how I am in the desert.
Hey, Leanne, you just go like this. You just go right through it. You don't pay no attention. What?
What?
You just found something, Steve?
Turtle.
Hey,
No way.
found a turtle! No way, let's see this.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Oh, wow.
Come here, babe.
Holy moly.
Nice.
There's a cross right here.
This is a turtle.
And that has legs.
Hey,
Tail. What?
there's a cross.
And she found a cross too.
Come on, babe.
Flower.
And a
You got
flower.
Did you found this one before?
Nice, huh?
That's a nice
No.
turtle.
Hey, what's that inside there, Steve?
It's a diamond. Telling you 1 league to go 1 league.
2.32 miles.
That's right.
Is that a new diamond or an old?
No, that's been there a while.
That's going to be an older one. If I'm not mistaken, as soon as you make any kind of mark on this trunk, it's going to stay.
And that's a tunnel marker right over there
What about this one?
in that pine tree.
Oh, yeah.
Nice turtle.
Yeah, that is a good turtle. So
It's a
see,
Maltese cross.
that one back there that we found is close to that.
Is it?
Kelly found this cross right there on the tree.
Oh, there's a flower over there.
And a flower, big flower symbol.
Flower over there. I seen this turtle when I was a little tiny kid.
There's the cross right there.
This is flower.
Oh, yeah, there's the other cross.
So there's 9
That's a tunnel
petals.
marker.
Oh, and the flower.
Oh, I gotta get this petal.
Yes.
And there's a cross right there.
Oh, look at that. It's beautiful.
Steve, this one's kind of sharp, right? Huh? This is pretty sharp. Yeah, that don't mean anything.
This one over here.
Sometimes they'll be sharp like that because it's shaded. Now right over here, now this has been starting to grow in. It's older than that. It's older than the rest. Let's look at it, you guys. Here's a trail. Here's a canyon. Here's a canyon.
What's this?
This is a mountaintop. That'd be the mine. So we got to continue that way over the mountain.
Hey
So how
Steve,
many
now,
petals?
when you're looking at the petals,
Yeah,
how do you determine which one is the mine and which one's the
It's
mountain
not
area?
hooked into the center.
Okay.
So is this considered petals? Like, so you were saying like the more the petals.
Well, up here's the petals.
Oh, what these are leaves.
These are branch canyons.
What is this?
I don't know what that is. Might be a lake. Might be a rendition of a lake or something because it's been cut. Then this is just the mountaintop.
So it's 2 mountaintops
Well, it's just,
or
yeah.
3.
And then if it was talking about richness, it'd have the petals like this.
Oh,
But when you have a little deal like this, it's usually where the mine is, or a circle. But this is, see how old this is? This is all
Yeah.
grown back.
are these anything?
Yeah,
Indicators?
that's got to be a tunnel, or it's got to be,
So is that
something.
away from this? I mean,
Showing her.
well, I don't know. It's a good guess.
Are you scared of the road?
go down from the mountain maybe there's
Probably.
another mine or something?
Yeah. Possibility.
That's cool.
We could add a camp right here too.
Yeah,
This would be a great place.
Cool
to
stuff, Steve.
you can't go that way.
That's
Interesting.
absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
Now, how old would you say that flower would be dated? In your
Older than Cody.
approximation?
All right, so I'm
Younger
late,
than me.
late to the party here. Explain this one to me. What do you decipher from this guy?
The flower sign is a map. And usually the stem is the canyon, the main canyon or ridge line. And these particular petals would indicate the top of the mountain. These would be ridges running off the top because there's only 3. And these little leaves like this would be branch canyons or ridges. And usually this, if it's a circle or even this football shaped symbol, could mean the mine. So it's telling you the mine is on the, if you're looking this way, it'd be on the north or the south, or the southeast side of the mountain. So when you get up to the mountain, and that's true because that's what the map shows, that the mine is on that side of the mountain. So you'd follow this up until you got to the mountain, and then you go over to that side.
Does the road necessarily follow the trail? Or?
Parts of roads do follow trails, you know, because normally that's what they do is they'd follow the old. Yeah, you follow an old, cart trail or something. They're going to build a road on it. And some of them where they dive off deep or whatever, they wouldn't, So you got to keep your eyes open for the trails, the residual trails on the sides, like down below, So that's the turtle. That's telling us it's a rich mine and it still has gold in it.
And the tail was facing down.
Yeah, it means it'll go straight ahead.
Go straight ahead.
The cross and the Maltese cross is also super important because that's telling us too that it's a real rich mine.
Wow.
Not necessarily just cash, but a mine. And
this here.
I stumbled on this back in, I don't know, a long time ago, 70s.
Wow.
You want to tell a story?
Do I want to tell a story? No.
Tell that story.
Skip. Was you there? Well, somebody was in the glory hole.
Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah.
And so we came up, and if you're up above the hole, you can talk like this, and they can be clear to the bottom. They can hear you. You can't hear people down in the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, but
It echoes down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this rope down there, and we had the rope ladder in the trees, remember? And I seen this truck up there, and I owned the mine, I owned the mountain. So I walked up and I said, "Hey, down in the hole, get your sorry asses out of there."
With his gun, like.
And I pulled my gun out, and I told him and the other boys, I said, I told you and Skip, I said, go over in the trees. So Lane and I stood there, and I said, "Get out of here!" And we heard a voice, "Okay, we're coming out." And so as soon as they stuck their heads out, I had that 44 right in their face. You know your claim jumping? It was Greg Lowell.
Yeah.
You know, and he had been hired by Gale, and I didn't know it. Well, the guy who was with him was an actor from Days of Our Lives.
Oh, really?
He is the guy. Who is he? He's on more shows now.
But he actually wet his pants. He was so scared. He stood behind Lowell like this. He just peed his pants. I had that gun on him.
Dad told us to leave, go walk about, walk around so we wouldn't watch. But of course, we just went to the nearest tree.
And you had no idea who it was.
Well, I had no idea. And they were claim jumping, so I pulled my gun, and they came out and had it right on their face.
That actor guy has an accent. Black. Gosh, who is he?
Well, he had an English.
Yeah, English accent.
And he was petrified white, and he was scared shit. He wet himself right there.
I forget his name though. Right
what movies has he done?
Bonnie, you remember that actor that I chased out of the hole? What was his name?
Anthony Hopkins.
No.
I don't think he was.
Oh, I know who it was. I know who it was. It was Clint Eastwood. No.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me guess, you had a bigger gun than he did.
I can picture his face.
Soap opera guy.
Soap opera guy, right?
Yeah.
He does other shows now though.
You-
Yeah.
Had the gun on him and told him to get out of there.
Yeah.
And he come out and he was scared to death. He had the kids run off and say, "Dad, get away," You had him go down the hill.
Oh, we watched.
You watched. Well, he had the gun pointed right at him. Yeah.
We're not gonna miss that.
Yeah, them guys. I can imagine what they felt like and see that hog leg pointed.
Yeah.
Come out.
Hog leg.
That was your big 45.
That was my big gun. Yeah. I
Revolver.
shorted them. The barrel looked probably that big.
Yeah,
around.
I'm sure it did.
As soon as they come out of the hole, they're, ooh.
Yeah.
Well, we buried them right here in this depression, and that's where their remains were found, right here by Russell Rich, who was a researcher that done all the work following the Spanish from Santa Fe up to here by using the maps and workbooks, and that's where they were at right here.
So the grave was marked on a map?
Huh?
The grave was marked on a map?
No, just a story of what they told about the place, and they said up above the mine is a rock outcropping, a gray rock outcropping, and so he came up and he found it, and then he found the markers right there.
Records are gone.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
stripped
yeah, John Young dug those out, and LeVar Shirts came in here and dug it with his backhoe, and they found a bunch of bones. They were looking for treasure, and they destroyed the graves.
Well, the Indians wouldn't bury them with treasure anyway.
No,
They take that.
the Indians didn't bury them because they were slaves.
Yeah.
They wanted to give them a Christian burial for some reason.
Yeah.
Don't make any sense, does it?
Must have been
It's
glad
probably
they got
out of
baptized.
respect or something for their.
Yeah.
What's that syndrome when you're?
Well, let's wander on down.
So Steve, if there's a mine,
That guy got a.
isn't there usually always
What was it, 1,000 years? 1,000 years. He should have got dead.
That's the story like. There's one here, one up on the edge of the mountain, one on the other side.
I say that they had that.
Yeah, life plus 1,000 years, I think it was. That pretty well covers it.
It was legal. I couldn't do anything about it. Walk over.
Hey Steve, now with several of these mines, why is it that we don't see too much of the mine dump?
Spanish never had mine dumps. Somebody destroyed my monument. This is the very spot that Gale Rhodes died at, right here.
Is that your
My
partner?
partner Gale Rhodes, the last Rhodes Mines fame. She died of a heart attack on this spot. My old partner.
Yeah, he was good
Not the one
already.
that screwed me, but
oh, okay, too bad, huh?
my old partner. Yeah, I built a monument here, but somebody's knocked it over.
This was for Dusty.
Oh, that's me.
Gale Rhodes.
Well,
Huh?
this is where
Gale
they said he
Rhodes.
died.
I
I think he
call him
got
Dusty.
killed.
Oh.
down
That's
there.
how I know him. I never called
I didn't
him
know
Gale.
that. I hadn't heard him. I hadn't heard of Dusty.
Did they bury him up here?
No, he's buried in Farron. But this is where they told me he died, so I came up here and I made them tell me right the spot, and I I brought rocks in and had a nice monument here, but you can see what happened.
His camper was right here. He sat here while everybody worked down there.
No, they were right here. Well, his camper was sitting right there.
He was not in his camper?
He was supposed to be, June's truck was sitting right here when he walked over and grabbed onto the door handle, they say, and keeled over dead right here on this spot. So that's where I built the monument. But
Wasn't that more built?
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Just
a
in the
tall
last-
one I built.
Wasn't it even better built just like 2 years ago? Or was it?
Yeah,
I know what
built
happened.
it real nice. I don't know what happened.
Punks come and tear it down.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, so we missed that whole story. Would you please tell us that again? We were getting.
there, it's half back up now. Pops.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little better.
Somebody will just come with us with it again.
It was built last year. I'm pretty sure it was.
I'll take a picture and send it to Paula. Let Paula know that we're still thinking of the day.
Yeah, it was a little higher than that, but that's okay. That's a good start right there. Great.
There we go.
There you go.
Get some height there.
There we go.
All right, that's better.
It's not a plaque, stick. Here, I want you to stand by it, Dad.
There was a curse that was put on the Josephine mine that all who worked on the mine or who came after the gold would have a curse would be placed on them. They'd lose their way, and their babies would die, and they'd have all kinds of afflictions. Well, it's hard to believe, and I don't believe in those stories, but the miners that we had working up here actually did go down the mine and start tunneling, and they'd go off in strange directions. And the directions we gave them, as soon as they got in the hole, they'd forget. And they'd come out and they'd say, oh yeah, we remember. They'd go in, and they'd forget. And then they'd forget that they were working for us. And so they were trying to take stuff to themselves. And so the old curse seemed to work on those guys. It never worked on me, but it worked on them. And maybe that's why a lot of the gold is still in the mine, because of the greed factor. So I guess you gotta be non-greedy. I don't know how I found that. I was just up here wandering around one day, and about 30 years ago, and found it. And the cross just tells you that you're at a mine site. And you can see it's quite old. It's almost all completely growing back in. It's pretty gnarly. And if you didn't know what to look for, you wouldn't even look at it.
I wouldn't have found it.
And so it's one of them things you just have to look for. And some people say, well, it was still bleeding, it must be new. Well, no, I've seen them bleed that are 100 years old, so that don't mean anything. So, but we look at the scarring, and that's how we tell. It's like that tunnel sign up there. It's one of the oldest tunnel markers you'll ever find anywhere in the UNS, and it's deep. It's really deep.
Yeah.
That's what we should have been finding on Red Creek.
So you find one of these, and does that tell you when you look at it,
Go
it's
straight
mine
ahead.
straight through that tree kind of thing?
Right. Well, you just come to the right side of it and go over. That'll take you right to those guys. See? Look at it.
Yeah, it is. But how do you know where to go? Like,
Well, then there'd be a
I
marker
mean-
on the tunnel.
but what if
There'd
there
be a
wasn't a
sign.
marker on the
Well, there
tunnel?
would be. There'd be a rock. There'd be a formation. There'd be
Like
a distance
tailings
marker,
or...
some kind of a location telling you that you were at the site.
Okay.
There'd be something to let you know. There'd be a stack of rocks. There'd be a heart, another heart. There'd be an upside down T cross, like your St. Anthony's.
But
The upside
upside
down,
down?
you'd be right on the mark.
On the mark.
So yeah, there's ways to tell. Unless the tree falls down or somebody knocks the rocks over, then you're on your own.
So if the right side part and then upside down part mean the same, why does the cross mean something different?
just the way they do it. The upside down key can also mean begin trail here.
Upside down key?
Yeah, could mean begin trail here. And the only way you can tell is because with the upside down T, you'll also have a circle.
Oh.
So it means to start here.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't see the circle, then you're wondering what the hell's that, you know? But,
Right. Right here.
Since we haven't found the gold or the mine today, we have a lot to go on for tomorrow, right? I think this leads us in the right direction.
oh yeah.
It'll be a big day that we gotta get up, make sure to get up earlier.
Yeah, we'll be, there's gold in them there hills.
No lollygagging.
No lollygagging tomorrow. Yeah, it's,
These ones are in here pretty good. Wow. They got one shoved
You know
under
what?
there.
I think this was done quite a while ago.
what if they drive those by?
But yeah, you can see a big void underneath these boulders.
Is that for blasting or what are they?
I don't know. It's support, we're thinking, because it's pretty long. You can see it come back in quite a ways.
Yeah, look at that hole where you're standing at right
Yeah,
there.
right here. There's a big void there.
Yep.
Almost looks like they took this and covered it back up.
You know what? Actually, I wanted to do it.
Blast it so the whole mine goes up.
It looks like.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
want to
get
crawl
in
down
there.
there.
I hear it.
Yeah, they've been busy, that's for sure.
All the time.
That's when you go get the guys saying we'll work for food.
Really?
Bring them up here.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
Get an axe.
Dude, just keep cooking them hamburgers and hot dogs.
Tortillas. They want burritos.
Tortillas. That's even cheaper.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you can feed a whole. I think they knocked that tree over to stop people from driving back in here too.
Possible, yeah.
That wasn't like that last year either, was it?
No, it was not.
I think they've been up here tearing shit up. Because it didn't look like any of this last year.
This needs
If I had the claim, I'd be busy on it.
We were up here and we never saw them, and it was perfect weather. I've seen them up here every time, but it seems like they're never really doing anything. It seems like they're up here. When I first saw him 3 years ago, he came up here with an old truck, old equipment. Next year, it seemed like he had a new razor, things like that. So they're trying, but this ditch, like what you saw, did you see the ditch that they were digging? That was done like 3 years ago. So really,
And that's probably
that was
what
3
all
years
this
ago, and then this would have been since
Yeah,
last
you need
year,
to
because
bring
this
up
wasn't
some
like
heavy
this last year.
Dig it out.
Well,
Once you find the entrance,
What's that?
Support that shit.
I have no idea. I've actually been trying to figure that
Exactly.
out.
and it is caved in farther back
That's
in.
what I'm thinking, almost an air ventilation that might have been put
Guy
into
who
it.
tried blasting the
At
door.
one time, it was probably
Didn't
back in
know
the
nothing
80s.
Let me take one more. Let me get it. Still here. I hope nobody burns it down or anything.
that tree has got to be 3,000 to 4,000 years old.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's the only pine tree growing up here.
Look, you can tell they cut that out.
Yeah.
There's water down there now. And little axe marks.
Over there too, there's all kinds of stuff on it. The roots go forever, Yeah, if you cored that, you'd see at least trees up 3,000 years.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the setup.
You guys need to take pictures of this. This tree could be 3,000 years old.
Those are the old trees.
Yeah, that's about
3,000
3,000 years old.
Silicone pine.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Something like that.
I didn't say
Oh, you probably felt me saying something
I was just saying in my mind, I closed my eyes. If I had my chance, I would go sit up here.
They are.
I heard a tree over there, so I
See that big hole coming up?
Didn't you say you came across it?
Can I get back down?
Oh, it was down there.
That's right. I thought it was either.
I know a guy where we camp, it's just right over here. We're trying to stay over here, yeah.
But this right here is the Duke Peak. there, kiddos. This isn't one of the good ones either. Some of them you break them open, and it's like a nodge. It's like a geode.
Yeah.
Except remember, do you see the gold veins running through it?
Oh wow. Wow. Cool.
It's raining.
Anyway, it's in my pack. Somebody wants it.
It is raining.
Who discovered that?
That was me and Don. Yeah, sorry, Don. I want to call you Dan for some reason.
I want to call you Lane.
It's raining.
He's gonna
It's
forget
raining.
Well, they
you
just
even existed after he finds more gold.
actually, I was just
Okay,
giving-
roll the bar.
well,
Yes.
Better take it home and put it